How many of us here? Remember the previous week we covered until which group?
Group 3 belum, sir.
Group 3 belum Jeremy Bentham. Okay, group 3, are you ready? Are you here? Group members ada?
Belum semua
Belum,
ada.
okay. Can we have like everyone to participate in asking questions and verifying things, you know? Boleh?
Boleh, sir.
Okay. So kita tunggu sekejap ya. Farah, Ikmal, Sofia, Ashifa, and Robbie. We have another 4 more. So total altogether 25. So now is 17. So is it enough for us to continue the class? For group 3, yeah, Jeremy Bentham. Have you chosen anyone to present?
We didn't choose anyone.
As a group lah, you present.
Okay.
Okay, okay, you can start. You want to control the presentation or you let me do that?
I think it's okay. We will just
Okay,
leave
yeah.
our screen.
All right.
Okay, first of all, we we did a little bit of introduction on uh, like as general,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, the first step is we state Jeremy Bentham,
Mm-hmm.
and then the first principle that we use is the principle of utilitarianism.
Okay, good.
And then the explanation to this principle is that the proposed law is considered valid and acceptable only when it brings goodness and happiness to the society at large.
Okay.
Before that, sir, we also want to emphasize Bentham's goal, which is to maximize pleasure and minimize pain. But we're not
Uh-huh.
sure if we should bold it or not.
Yes, you should, because that is what he is saying. Maximize pleasure and minimize pain. What? How do you maintain greatest happiness? So happiness here equals to maximize pleasure and minimize pain.
Mm,
That is the formula. Happiness is about maximizing your pleasure and minimizing your pain. So any law that can bring out the greatest happiness to the greatest number of people, meaning the law itself should be able to maximize pleasure and minimize pain.
okay, sir.
Okay, so ni greatest happiness lah. So happiness, what do you mean by happiness? Greatest happiness of greatest number of people. Tetapi when it comes to happiness, definition is maximize pleasure and minimize pain. So the rest of the group, do you understand what do you mean by what does it mean by maximize pleasure and minimize pain?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir.
We as a human being, we want to maximize our pleasure and minimize the pain. Right. Okay, good. Continue.
Okay, and then we've explained some more about the principle of utilitarianism,
Okay.
and then we also
Any
state.
principle of utility pun kena bold
Oh, okay. Okay, and then we also highlighted about um, that Bentham thinks of punishment that involves pain is evil. So the punishment can only be done if it is to exclude greater evil.
The rest of the group, faham? The rest of the class member?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, anything that is involving pain, obviously it's evil, but to exclude greater evil, yeah. Where is your authority? Good, right?
And then we use the case of really conjoined twin surgical separation. It is a
Mm-hmm.
medical law case. So
Mm-hmm.
how we apply it is that in this case, the parents did not want the surgery to happen because
Mm-hmm.
they are religious and they just want God takes his place.
Mm-hmm.
But if the surgery is not made, one of the twin, which is Jody, will die. But if the surgery is made, Jody will live and marry the other twin. Either way, she will die.
Mm-hmm.
So how we apply this, how we apply Bentham's idea is that um, the judge in this case said that it is lawful to do the surgery because although killing the other twin is macam considered evil,
Mm-hmm.
but it is better to kill one twin rather than having both of them killed.
Okay.
So
Right.
we applied like that.
Okay. Boleh pakai. But if you were to have another example that is more useful or more clearer to explain, to give some example of the theory, then is much better lah. So especially when it comes to act, acta. So any laws, the promulgated laws by the legislator can be taken as an example in order for you to put forward the idea of Bentham. One thing that can come across my mind is the Land Acquisition Act, to take over somebody else's land for the benefit of the majority of the society. So you can take that as one of the example. You can put more than one, obviously, right? So in order to strengthen your argument with respect to ideas of Bentham. Okay, boleh ya? In exam, if you want to put everyone, if you want to put Bentham, you must be able to convince, yeah, the reader in this case, convince me that that the Bentham's idea is a practical formula that we apply in our society today. Okay, good. Now, so number five is you. Oh, okay, good. You are trying to discuss the sub element of quantum theory. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you explain that, or can you explain for the benefit of the rest?
Okay, so and then we highlighted about Bentham's theory on liberty is the absence of restraint. So basically, Bentham does not like the idea of restriction towards someone's liberty
Okay.
because it is considered painful and that is opposed to his um, goal.
Formula.
Uh,
Okay. Good.
and and then we highlighted about the restricted liberty is painful towards those whose freedom is restricted and it is
Mhm.
prima facie evil.
Good. Very good. Because everything that you mentioned is the one that you are going to use in your application. Anything that you introduce, you must be able to use it in your application. In this situation, you have come up with his, because whenever we are talking about juries, they have so many areas of opinions or formula or theory or principle or whatever. Yeah, the idea that they are so vast in their ideas. So you want to take the ideas that is relevant to the application of the question that is given to you. Okay. So number 6.
Just now it was number 6.
Oh yeah, it was number 6. Sorry.
Uh,
So number 5 is restraint.
uh,
Okay. Just now you mentioned about the restraint. One has liberty and it is considered as free. Okay, boleh lah. Yeah. Okay. And then you give one example. Right.
So we took the Muhammad Juzaili case
Mm-hmm.
because in this case the man wanted to dress as a woman.
Right.
However, when Section 66 of the Negeri Sembilan enactment says that a male Muslim cannot do so. So he brought it to the court, and the court held that the Section 66 is invalid because,
Mm.
and how we apply Bentham's idea is that the court views Section 66 as something that restrains someone from his right to live, which is stated in Article 5. So, to uphold the liberty of the society, which is the apa macam the person punya society, orang yang tu
Mm-hmm.
majority,
Mm-hmm.
to and uphold their liberty and to live their life in dignity.
Mm-hmm.
The court says that the law is invalid. So this is in line with Bentham's idea, because the court had made sure that they maximize the happiness of the society, that group of people, and minimize their pain of not being able to dress as how they want to dress.
Okay. So the key word here is liberty and then dignity. Right? Liberty and dignity is about the happiness. Yeah. And to be able to let someone to do what they want is to minimize the pain. Okay, good. Right. Now applying. Any question on the explanation of the principle of Bentham? Ada? Ada. Kalau ada, please tanya. Tak ada. Alright. So can
Sir,
yes.
tak ada. Just nak tanya like in evidence, like
Yes.
the case of the conjoined twins too. It brought me to think, can euthanasia be used under Jeremy Bentham punya theory?
Yes. You can introduce in terms of euthanasia, yes. Yeah. Euthanasia, actually euthanasia, it depends on the society itself. Western society sees euthanasia as their right. You know, it should be bringing them happiness, as compared to Malaysian. So Malaysian, we have yet to open our mind when it comes to euthanasia. So euthanasia pun besar, right? So what do you mean by euthanasia? Okay, kayak kita ada positive euthanasia, negative euthanasia. Betul tak? Positive and negative. Can't remember already. Dah lama dah medical law. Assisted suicide dengan kan?
So positive is the assisted one, negative is the one where we don't do anything.
We don't know anything. Okay. The one that is negative, kita practice. But the positive, kita tak practice lagi. Why? Because the society is not able to see it as bringing happiness to the greater number of people. So kalau you nak comment on that, you have to bring in the two perspective of Western and Eastern punya society. Because bottom line is society, kan? How the society perceive whether it is happiness or not.
Okay, faham sir.
Faham, eh? Okay. So you can agree or disagree. You don't have to like agree with me. Yeah. Okay. Can we apply? Looking at the application. Anyone who wants to ask question about the law? I mean the law part lah. I mean the jurist part. Tak ada? Ada? please, you don't shy of asking question. Okay, kalau sementara tunggu dia orang, you can write down if you are afraid of, putting your mind across.
Sir,
Ada lagi? Yes, yes, yes.
so I would just like to confirm for the example that we use to apply the jury's idea, it does not necessarily be cases, right? So macam akta pun boleh je kita use
Okay.
as illustration.
Depending on the jurist. Kalau had, you tak boleh nak bawa masuk cases. HLA had, if you were to bring a case as your authority to elaborate his idea, then you are going to be wrong. Why? Because his idea is talking about rules. Rules is talking about legislative enactment. Yeah. So we have acta by the legislator. Anything that is coming from the legislation is considered as either primary or secondary. So depending on whatever laws that you want to refer to. So if you want to refer to penal code, saying that penal code is the primary law, then you can say that the secondary law to support the penal code might be Evidence Act, might be the CPC, might be Court of Judicature Act, it might be Police Act, it might be so many laws to support the penal code. Yeah. So penal code basically is about preventing people from doing certain things, right? Behavior of the society. So you must be able to get a law, a regulation, or any act that can support the primary rules that you mentioned just now.
Okay, sir, faham.
Okay, faham? So it depends. It doesn't mean that you can take any case to be an example. It depends on the situation. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. Question lagi? I like question. I love to hear question to be able to clarify you guys about the things that you don't understand. Ada lagi? Tak ada. Okay. Applying Bentham. Jom kita tengok apply Bentham.
Okay, so first, sorry. First, we would like to apply our principle of utilitarianism, whereby the essence of the principle kan all punishment is evil, therefore punishment can only be there if it excludes greater evil. So we relate that to the act in question, whereby the lecturers and the academicians are being penalized if they decide to voice out their concerns regarding issues in the country. So benda ni, the action of voicing out their concern does not lead to greater evil. So what we try to relate with the principle of utilitarianism is the punishment of penalizing these lecturers are considered as unfair and lead to greater injustice.
Macam mana you kata prevention of a greater evil? You kena letak evil dengan greater evil.
Evil dengan greater evil.
The law is seems as an evil thing that you do, but it is to prevent greater evil. Macam mana you nak put that into perspective?
Can we say since the Act 605, if we put Act 605, this would cause the lecturers to become hesitant. So this would prevent freedom of speech and some sort. Benda tu greater evil ke?
Tak. The evil that the law try to instill, meaning punishment, right? The evil here we are talking about the punishment from the act, right? That restrict the academics from expressing their thought. But the main purpose is for to prevent greater evil. Apa greater evil yang mungkin berlaku when academics are able to express their thoughts freely?
Yes. So greater evil.
Hmm?
Tak tahu.
What
Orang buat
can they do to the society?
what? Sorry,
Maybe
sis?
the
What a lecturer can influence the student to do what?
maybe
To
the lecture.
protest.
So
Yes.
To
to protest,
protest, like
yeah, to protest, to go and create havoc to the society, because students are the most powerful tools.
mm,
You see, governments fall down because of student movement. Students are very, very powerful. Yeah, throughout the entire history, when you have nothing to lose, people like me and people like your parents, we can't afford to lose things. We cannot be thrown to jail where we cannot produce income to the family. We dare not to go and create chaos. We dare not. It is common sense, a human punya behavior. But when it comes to student, they have nothing to lose. They have their future, the whole future in front of them, and they don't have to worry about producing any money. They are being sponsored by their parents, right? They can live in any way that they want, because they don't have any commitment at all. They don't have to pay the banks. They don't have to pay the rent. Students are a very useful, what they call it, source. Yeah, very useful source for people to instigate some negative, what they call it, movement. Thailand, the one that is Hong Kong, recently Hong Kong, you see student movement. Thailand, student movement. America in 1960s, going against the government, student movement. Everywhere in the world, the first group will start the riots, or action against the government would be the students. Okay, because students are intelligent, because they are educated people, and they don't have anything to lose. So you can put that argument inside and then put as your example. But okay, continue. Sorry.
apa tu? Okay, so lepas tu we try to make to macam to show yang Act 605 ni actually does not confirm with this principle, sebab macam before saya explain tu, we thought that there is no greater evil. So macam since there is no greater evil, so the punishment imposed to the lecturers is unreasonable. So that's why we make here the act cannot be said to have confirmed with the principle of utility.
Okay.
As
No matter what is your idea, it is up to you to present them. Okay, so you can disagree with what I said just now. You want to put it the other way around? Yes, you can, provided that you are able to prove your argument. Now, how do you prove your argument? The words or the argument that you state in your answer is the one that is going to convince the reader. Okay, if you go into the court later on, how you convince the court into accepting your argument, that is the most important thing for a law student. Yeah, to convince, to win their case, right? So in this particular paper, which is very subjective, it is up to your interpretation. If you can convince me or convince the anyone pertaining to what you see as in relation to Bantam or any juries for that matter, then it's okay. It's up to you. Yeah. So don't see it as, okay, this is what he suggested, so therefore I have to follow. No, I want you to have that kind of freedom to be able to like explore and argue based on your argument lah. Yeah, based on your argument itself. Boleh? Okay. Continue. So since public universities lecturers who commented on the issue without obtaining permission.
Okay. So as I mentioned just now, we decide to put it in a way yang this act does not conform with the principle. Lepas tu kita orang nak cakap yang since this punishment would only apply to lecturers who voice out, especially if what they are voicing out to macam contradicts with what the ruling party are doing at the moment. So macam this would only lead to the prosper of apa psycho fancy culture in university,
Yes.
and also macam strict freedoms. So macam in at the end, the greater evil tu bukanlah macam saya cakap tadi apa there would be protest and demonstration, but the greater evil tu would be the psycho fancy culture and
Yes.
the
Yes.
restriction in expressing your thoughts.
Boleh. So many ways of looking into it. Yeah, you can argue because you are here to be taught how to argue, right? So if your argument can bring sense, then good for you. Okay. So the question, the most important thing is the ability to put it into writing. Later on, dekat mooting nanti you start to have practice of how you verbally argue your case. Right. Boleh. So how about the VC punya act? VC punya act macam mana? He prevent other people from doing it by applying the law, but yet he is the one that do not follow the law. What say you?
I think for that, it will also the act of the VC will also create greater evil because lagilah orang marah bila dia pula boleh buat macam tu.
Do you want to discuss about the VC's behavior?
We did not discuss on the
No. Do you think you should? Kalau you tak nak, it's okay.
I think
Because seriously, because Bentham is talking about the law. It's not about the behavior of a person. Betul tak? He's talking about the implementation of the law. That implementation of the law have the greater happiness of the greatest number of people. So you go along the line of kalau you kata VC sendiri pun tak dapat tahan because he breaches the provision of the act. Okay, in that sense, it is human nature for us to find happiness, and the happiness that we want to find is the ability for us to converse or speak up. Yeah. And the fact that the law is trying to prevent that is not in line with the greater happiness of the whole society, which is under the fundamental liberties, federal constitution, is to promote the freedom of speech for people. You boleh argue pula kalau lecturers are to be hold down from speaking, then what's the point of having education? Because education is to open up your mind. Okay, once you are able to open your mind, then you can scrutinize what is right, what is wrong. By subjecting to a certain ideology, then what's the point of studying in the first place? Betul tak? I mean, that is the way I see it. Okay, good. You have your own way of everyone, yeah. For the rest of the group, members of the class, you can do whatever you want, provided that you are able to argue. Okay, you put it in writing of your argument. If your argument, when I read or anyone that is going to check your paper, when they read and they are convinced that you know what you're talking about, then you will get high marks for that. Okay, as compared to those people who are unable to at least apply. You know, when you cannot make an effort to apply, then therefore you don't deserve any marks at all. But if you do make an attempt and you fail in convincing, at least you will get more points than the person who did not. Okay, the person that is not doing the application will get 0, but you will get half of the maybe about, if the marks is 10, you might have at least 5 because you attempt to discuss the matter or application. Then you this paragraph macam mana? Provision of bodies. What is this paragraph talks about? Oh,
So
this is the extension of what you said just now.
the next paragraph is for the restraint of liberty.
Okay, so that the keyword that you want to maintain. So therefore, the act goes against dia kata the act clearly contradicts the right to liberty. Therefore, Ahmad and his fellow lecturers have the rights to express. Okay, good. Tapi here what you want to do is liberty, where is the happiness? Because dalam paragraph you must put in the words that you mentioned above. Yeah, for example, you nampak kat atas ni kan, you're talking about maximize pleasure, minimize pain, you know. Mana pleasure, mana happiness? The key word here, happiness, pleasure, pain. Mana tiga-tiga tu dalam that paragraph? It must contain in this. You tak boleh just saying that on liberty apa semua. Ni ada, kenapa you tak cakap? Therefore, as Bentham theory is to maximize the pleasure and pain, Ahmad's situation, liberty is it's not obsolete. Moreover, the strain was not only Ahmad. Thus, it is considered as pain. Yeah. Okay, good. You tak defend you punya argument. And then, mana dia happiness? Mana happiness? Ini cuma minimizing pain. Where is the happiness? By allowing people to talk, that is promoting the happiness. Okay, kena masuk ke dalam tu. And then keyword that you use, pain, evil, macam ni kan, semua kena bold. Pain, evil, happiness, mana? Tapi yang ni bila you kata ni to maximize pleasure and minimize pain, this is not application. This is just stating the theory. Bila amat tu, then you are talking about freedom of speech and its relationship with happiness. Kat mana you tak letak? So you boleh tambah kat sini. The ability to freely to freely something lah, to freely state their mind, you know, somehow you akan buat letters to say that it will bring happiness to the greater number of people. Something along that line, yeah. So this sentence as an extension to it is the ability for you to bring the second, the most important element of Bentham, which is about happiness, yeah. Happiness of the greater number of people. Tapi greater number of people ni, you kena explain what do you mean by greater number of people. Meaning the society of all educationists in the country are free to state their mind. Therefore, they are able to make the student think further, yeah, and to analyze any problem and to scrutinize any law, yeah. That is the ability for the whole society. Actually, the law that we are learning is meant for everyone. Okay, law should be for everyone. You are the lucky ones that is knowing what is right, what is wrong. When other people in our country, 33 million 900,000, I think is 0.01%, 0.001% sahaja yang belajar tentang law. The rest does not learn about law, which they should, yeah, in order to bring happiness to them. Okay, good. Right, ni article 10. Okay, di kat mana dia punya happiness? Where is the idea? You nak present apa ni dalam ni? Dalam every paragraph mesti ada key point, right? So what is the key point here?
Dekat sini, we want to say that Act 605 is a restriction towards Article 10. And that restriction is evil because it is not for the purpose of preventing greater evil.
Yeah, okay. Boleh. In that sense, it is not to the extent that it is preventing greater evil. Betul? Tak ada pun, ya. Kalau just because you let people have freedom of speech doesn't corrupt the country pun, you know. Uh, kan? Because that is the perception that people would have in their minds. If you let that people to say something, then it will destroy the country. I don't know to what extent. Tapi kalau macam yang kata tentang Rasulullah tu macam mana? What is your guys punya opinion? The French punya artist.
For that, I think it is kena restrict because the greater evil is that it plays with religion, and bila it plays with religion, confirm a fight will be caused.
Yes, and then you see murder apa semua kan. Very good. Yeah. Okay, my wife tanya, what if kalau Rasulullah is alive, what would you think he would do?
From what
My wife kata, would he be angry? Do you think he is going to be angry?
I think from what I read, Rasulullah will always be calm, and for whatever evil that someone does to him or his people, he will not balas balik that evil to them.
Yeah, okay. So in a way, it is a general concept that macam tak tahu lah, the way that they did something. I mean, it's very difficult for us to to settle the issue, because some people would be so sensitive because they defended in saying that Rasulullah would not agree for his name to be, tarnished and things like that. But if you were to have Rasulullah here today, I mean, he would say, tak apa, biarkan, it doesn't matter. Right. So, okay. So that is the idea of utilitarianism. So, what do you think when Rasulullah pernah orang baling bukan baling, letak najis atas kepala dia. Aduh, and yet he did not do anything. Okay. Right. Okay, group 4. Allah Akbar. Okay, group 4, John Stuart Mill. Can we have group 4? Amir?
Yes. But before that, sir, is it okay if we go first because group 2 haven't presented yet?
Group 2 tak present lagi
I think so. Because
okay, group 2. Group 2 pula. Group 2. Okay, group 2. Can we have you to present? Mana dia? Ni, John Ross. Okay, good. Clear. You dah highlight dah. Macam dah buat dia? Belum lagi Amir? Belum lagi?
I think belum.
Dah.
Nampak macam cantik ni. Ada 3A, 3B. Right. Group apa lagi?
Boleh, sir. Group 4 boleh proceed, sir.
Group 4 Okay, group 4, can we have group 4 members to present? Alright, John Stuart Mill.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you kena kuat sikit kamar.
Hello. Hello, hi.
Hujan kan? Sorry.
Okay. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Ya.
Alright.
Okay. Tak apa, pakai telinga.
Okay. Alright, sir.
Right.
For John Stuart Mills. Okay, hold on. I couldn't see on the screen very well, so I need to open.
Okay. Yes, please. You want to control the presentation? No need.
If
you want?
I guess it would be better if we control ourselves.
Yes, please. Kejap I let you control.
Okay.
Okay, now you are in control.
Kejap sir. Okay.
Akil ada? Are you there? Muhammad Nur Akil Haziq.
Yes, sir.
Waduh. Ampun, apa umur abang?
Umur 22.
Ya, nampak muka macam pengarah mana tu. Bagus. Alright. Presentation is number one. Okay, siapa tadi? Ayu
Okay. Okay, sir.
Apa? Akama.
John
Alright.
Stuart Mill. Ya. Okay.
Akama kena besar sikit. Nanti dia orang tak nampak. Besar. You tekan control. Okay, good. Alright.
Alright, John Stuart Mill. So John Stuart Mill is a naturalist, so we decided to do this one. And
Good.
so our answer would be quite different since we had divided into few points.
Tak apa, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about the answer.
So
As I said, apa you punya argument, kalau you pandai olah you punya argument and put it into perspective, why not? You know, kalau you kata to the extent that macam I would say yang mana yang nak lukis tentang Rasulullah, let it be. Kenapa you nak kena sensitif sangat? You know, me and my wife, kami liberals. Kita, you want to do whatever you want, you do lah. You know, because Rasulullah is, if he is here, he would not be affected by what you nak tunjuk marah. Jadi macam bodoh tau. Orang Mak Saleh akan kata, what kind of mentality this Muslim are. Just be professional about it. Okay. Right.
Alright. So first and foremost, we quoted J.S. Mills upon his book, which is On Liberty.
Good.
J.S. Mills, and then the first principle is the harm principle.
Very good.
Okay, for this number 3, we rated on the definition and the principle of harm principle.
Very good. Harm, can you identify the harm towards what? What is the definition of harm?
Harm the offenders.
Harm to physical or what? Harm still. Yeah.
Basically, it's upon physical and effects.
No, it's about the rights, yeah.
If I may interrupt,
yes, please.
I believe harm here is more wide. It is not constricted to only physical harm, but also
very good.
Generally.
Very good, Shazana. Yes, Kama, it is not about physical. Yes, physical is the core, at the right center of the element, but it does not talk about physical alone. It is encompassing to the rights of the people. Yeah, boleh ya. So that one have to stand out dalam you punya number 3. Yeah. That has to stand out because that will be used into the discussion of the question.
Okay.
Alright, good.
Comprising the rights as well.
Yeah, okay. So tak apa. Itu later. Yeah. So just continue with your presentation.
Alright. So for the harm principle, it comes from another principle called the utility. The principle of utility.
Mills dengan Bentham ni they are friends.
That's why they are a bit similar.
They had tea together, you know. They had discussion with each other. So they tend to know each other lah. Okay. Dia sama dengan wife Bentham, wife Mill ni pun dia kalau you belajar dia feminist movement. Jeremy Bentham lah, John Stuart Mill punya ni wife. Okay. Right.
So to clarify, if we inserted the principle of utility upon our legal arguments, it's correct lah kan?
It depends. You introduce something if you want to use it. If you are not likely to use it in your application, don't present.
Okay, faham.
Yang mana you nak pakai, you can elaborate further, deeper, yes. But anything that you feel that you are not going to be able to utilize in your argument or in the application nanti, jangan pakai. Jangan introduce at all.
Okay.
Analogy dia macam ni lah. Kalau you nak masak nasi goreng, you jangan introduce something that is not relevant to nasi goreng. punya recipe.
Okay, faham.
Okay, right. Okay, good. Continue.
Alright, and then we further elaborate on the second idea that Mill suggests that there is a difference between harm and offense.
Okay, good.
Okay, and then
Itu kena highlight harm and
okay.
offense, nanti you underline lah. Kalau you dah bold the principle and then you underline control you, highlight control you.
Right.
Then you can utilize italic, up to you. Okay, done. Number 3, done.
Alright. Okay, and then so we proceed to the evidence where
Yes,
we
good.
provide one case.
Good.
In the case of Mat Syuhaimi bin Syafi'i against government of Malaysia, but the Court of Appeal declared a section of the Sedition Act unconstitutional as it criminalised publication of seditious material without requiring the person charged to possess the requisite criminal intent. So in this case, we try to reflect the above theory of J.S. Mills upon the harm principle, which that the offenders upon words must that be of clear and significant intention. So without having possession this intention, it would not bring harm. So instead, it will just free speech, which enshrined in Article.
Yes,
That's the idea.
that is going against his rights, Okay, good argument, good argument. Remember, guys, everyone, it is all based on your argument. If you present a case or any act, you can elaborate and you can convince with the relationship of what you said just now about the principle, then good, you are there already. So number 5.
Okay. So number 5, try to
The 5th element,
okay. So
dia macam pecah-pecah suara dia. Everyone else, okay. Can you hear Akama punya? No.
No, sir.
Hello?
Okay, good.
Okay, baru jelas.
Jelas tak?
Okay, Kama, itu Kama ke?
Saya.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I continue.
Yes.
5 for the application. Okay. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So in this current situation, applying the harmful, Amma believes that the act is oppressive to users in the sense that it prohibits them from participating in politics, especially if the participation is something that is against government. So the harm principles here permits the doing of anything as long as it does not harm others. So we believe that it may seem like the participation of lecturers in politics might have harmed the government institution, or basically being a lecturer would represent the university itself. However, it is important to understand the underlying points, which I would want to apply the principle of utility, which I mentioned above, that people should only do those things that bring greatest amount of happiness to the greatest number of people in this sense. And in the capacity of lecturer, which is I, individual participation will be a greatest amount of happiness to greatest number of people, as the country practices to be a reflection of what is the non-lecturer being reflective of his position.
Kama, because you are off tangent, you dah pegang apa momentum punya idea.
Okay, so
salah because you are heading towards Bentham punya greatest happiness of greatest number of people. Cuma you are to focus on along the line of harming. So argument you is about their action, the ability of the lecturers to state something is not going to harm anyone. Where is the proof of the one that is harming other people in terms of physical or the rights of other people? You have to go along that line.
Okay,
you faham lah? So kita kena kata tak ada pun apa pula bila kata you are holding my rights just because I might harm other people. Where is the harm? Show me the harm.
It's the harm input. Okay.
Kan?
So the point is justification tu macam kurang tepat.
Dia kurang tepat. So you balik pada federal constitution, you say that after all, federal constitution is allowing us to have a freedom of speech, and it does not contradict with the federal constitution. Furthermore kan, jadi you gunakan you punya argument, goreng sampai you rasa memang you dah, orang kata, memang dah padat lah you punya argument, ya. You must be able, kalau dalam court, to argue to the extent that there is no loopholes, there is no is solid now. You punya argument is so solid that nobody can deny. That is the method, guys. You have to, kalau alang-alang you nak buat, you must be able to goreng dia sampai sampai memang padat. Memang your argument is so strong because it makes sense. Okay? Because benda juris ni tak ada right or wrong, so it depends on you. Yeah, good attempt. No problem there. No? Okay, so bawah dia, on the other hand, males act morally wrong. Apa dia tu?
That would be another limit duty.
Okay, right, continue. Siapa yang nak present on that?
Okay. Amir.
Amir. Ma?
Sekejap je.
Ya, tak apa, take your time.
Okay, sir. So I will start at on the other hand, bro.
Okay. Yeah, please proceed. Yeah.
Okay. So another thing that Neil mentioned is that if an act is morally wrong, then it is blameworthy. Means that contoh macam siapa yang buat kesalahan yang tidak memoral tu, kita mesti salahkan orang tu, bukan salahkan orang lain. And kita mesti put that blame on that particular person, not the person who does not commit the immoral act. Okay, next. Meals pun boleh bawa sikit kan, Mak? Okay, Mills also said that morality is not about what we can blame someone for our action je, tapi what we ought to do as well. So instead of blaming someone of what they did, which is immoral, we must also do and promote act that is morally right. For example, it can be seen in the Whistleblower Protection Act, whereby this act let us as a whistleblowers to report or to expose any person who does corrupt practices. Besides that, this also shows that it is in line with the harm principle as stated by Mills earlier, whereby it can also promote less harm, because when people is the higher up committing corrupt practices, it may benefit others, but it also harm a lot of people. For example, the people working below them and other person who working really hard and not using any like sort of unfair advantage.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Relating to the current situation, Ahmad in this case has the right to interfere and question the culture of sycophancy, and which is protected by the Act 605.
Kalau Nazim baca you punya tulisan ni, memang dia akan bagi A lah.
Saya anak murid Sir Nazim, sir.
Okay, good. He taught you well lah.
Saya dah kena present kat tangga saya dulu.
Okay.
Okay, so in this situation, Ahmad can rely on what Niels had mentioned earlier to report all the situation that's been going on by the higher ups and by the person who related to UMNO. He also need not to worry that apa, in case he is going to get caught or any unnecessary movement from the political parties, because he can also rely under Whistleblower Protection Act. Besides that, he by reporting and interfere with these immoral practices done by the Vice Chancellor, he also prove and promote such moral conduct, and he shows to the public that we should not condone to any immoral act, even though our our culture loves to do it, because you get unfair advantage and money easily, right, without having to work for it.
Yes.
So I think this is why Ahmad should and must interfere and report this immoral conduct by using Mill's stand on the place of morality, so that it promotes morality and it proves that there is still harm can be prevented from our culture and for our future generation as well.
Very good. For you guys, just to share with you, this is what happening. This is a real question, real incident that happens in ITM, involving people like Nazim, because of the thing that we mentioned, certain things that we do, uh, you know, we are being punished because it depends on the perception that certain people have towards other people. Yeah? And we in law we have to state what is right, what is wrong, betul tak? Right? So sad lah, so situation. So they can make mistake, but we cannot make mistake. They can make wrong, but when we make something, then we are considered as those wrongful. Okay, good. Whatever the argument that you made is very strong, which is in line with the question itself. Okay, next idea. Ada lagi?
Okay, sir. Pak saya dah ada.
Habis dah. Pak ni next on the idea or habis dah
Saya, sir.
Apa? Adin
Yes, sir.
Adin.
Yes.
Okay,
Sophia pun boleh, sir. It's okay.
sorry. Okay, proceed.
Okay, the next is on the idea of how an authoritative body should not restrict the people's rights by J.S. Mills in his book on liberty. And under this idea, he talks about how the government's interference with individual liberty should not be anything beyond necessary. That's the summary, that's the whole idea. Mill proposes that governments should adopt a laissez-faire policy in that they would abstain from interfering with individual choice and grant unconstrained freedom to people who should be able to pursue their happiness without restrictions. Next, Mills defines social liberty as protection from the tyranny of political rulers. And this is somewhat the core of this idea about how to prevent the tyranny of political rulers. And so social liberty for Mill meant that putting limits on the ruler's power so that he would not be able to use that power to further his own wishes and thus make decisions that could harm society. Then I give the example, firstly in the case of James and Commonwealth of Australia, where the court held that the free speech does not mean free speech, but it means speech hatched in by all the laws against defamation, blasphemy, sedition, and so forth. The reason I put this is, according to this idea, when the way I understood this idea is that he said government should always restrict itself to do only what is necessary. That means it's not acknowledging that everyone has 100% freedom. They still say that the government can intervene, but only when necessary. So that's why I included this case. Okay, good. Later I'll explain my application. The next case is Dewan Undangan Negeri Kelantan and Nordin bin Saleh, where basically the court held that an article in Kelantan state constitution, which is designed to enforce party discipline, imposes a restriction on the exercise by members of the legislature of their fundamental right of association, which is guaranteed under Article 10 of the federal constitution. And then I included the judge's explanation in the case, where it was his opinion that in this article it imposes a restriction on the membership of legislative assembly, which infringes a citizen's right to form associations under Article 10, um, subsection 1, paragraph C of the federal constitution. Such a restriction cannot by any stretch of the imagination be deemed necessary or expedient in the interest of the federation or any part thereof, public order, morality, or even labor or education. In conclusion, this article is inconsistent with the federal constitution, which is the supreme law of Malaysia, and it is therefore void under Article 4, subsection 1 of the federal constitution. And I included this case because it talks about what is necessary, and it also talked about public order and also morality. For the
Okay.
application in the present case,
Adini,
according to yes, sir.
sorry, because you mentioned earlier, you want to, what is the key element that you want to bring out from me?
Tyranny to prevent tyrannical leaders,
Okay,
tyranny of political leaders.
okay. So the what is that in relation to the case that you present? Dewan Undangan Negeri.
The relation is that a law
Uh-huh.
cannot be made to restrict a member's individual right as
Okay.
provided in the federal constitution.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I didn't realize my mic was still on.
Okay.
Okay, for the application, the present case, according to Mills, Act 605, stating that if any of the lecturers were to speak out on any matters in the country, they must seek permission from the Vice Chancellor and severely penalizing lecturers who do not support the ruling political party is a breach of freedom of speech, as an authority should not restrict a person's political liberty. And then I explained this is because punishments influence the lecturers unfairly, since an individual has their own right to support a political party of their choice, free from oppression. In
Therefore,
addition, from oppression.
yeah. Therefore, it goes against the tyranny of the politician.
Yes, sir. I'll bring you to the sentence in question. Of the Consequently, the restriction of propagating the political party of one's choice, where the
Mhm.
lecturers are only allowed to speak on issues in the country after granted permission from the Vice Chancellor, is a tyrannical
Very good.
authority and not necessary.
Very good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Furthermore, Act 605 breaches Ahmad's individual right to freedom as provided under Article 10 of the Malaysian Federal Constitution, as it is ultra-virus to the federal provision, as it is a restriction not deemed necessary or expedient in the interest of the Federation.
Good.
Okay. For the university to limit his rights, as in accordance to the principle upheld in Dewan Undangan Negeri Kelantan and Nordin bin Saleh.
Very good.
Then I said Ahmad's individual right will still be governed by Article 10 as long as Ahmad peacefully and respectfully gives his opinion on his political views. As J.S. Mills stated, government should intervene when necessary. This is also supported by the case of James and Commonwealth of Australia. In conclusion, Act 605 is unreasonable and it should be amended as it is an oppressive law towards an individual's right to freedom of speech, according to J.S. Mills.
Very good. Okay. Congratulations. Then
Okay,
you have,
sorry.
yes.
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Number one, our first point was on harm principle. So
Mhm.
does that mean yang sepatutnya in all these other principles yang kita tulis ni, we still selitkan about harm principle?
Because
Ke
you
tak
have
perlu dah?
because you have to go to other juries. You have to bring only the best of that particular juries the idea of that particular jurist in order for you to apply. So if you have like 7 jurists that you have to write down, so you choose the best idea from that particular, the most important element or principle theory from that jurist. Yeah,
I understand. Okay, thank you, sir.
yeah, okay.
Oh,
So
so one.
yeah,
Stop, sorry. Okay, last. For example, in my case, it was under Article. It's still under Article 10, but it's on freedom of association, not
yes,
freedom of speech. But
yes.
it's okay, as I highlighted on the principle that that a government should not infringe one's personal right. So it doesn't matter if it's not under the same type of freedom.
You can choose. The rest of the group, you can now see that there is 3 perspective or approach that is from towards the meals punya what do you call it, idea, right? So you can choose. Up to you. There is no right or wrong. It's just a matter of that if you want to present in what you have presented, the group have presented, then it's okay for you to do so. If you want to do only one perspective, then it's up to you. Okay, you are not going to be expected. If the question is specifically on meals and bantam, then you have to go deep. Therefore, all have to come out. You know, if the question is general, it is asking you to give as many as juries as possible, then you have to touch and go lah, lebih kurang.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Hey, time's up. I'm so sorry that you might have another class there. Okay. So see you guys next week, inshallah, to continue if there is any other groups. So take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Assalamualaikum. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Nadine, are you okay?
Sir, I'm okay. I'm just talking to
Uh,
my group. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
okay.
Sir.
Allah. Sorry, Ami. Tak.